Another view on Youth Day now. Professor Thabo Msibi is the Dean and Head of the School of Education in the College of Humanities at the University of KwaZulu-Natal. Professor Msibi, good afternoon to you. Just talking there to Seth Maziboko, I don't know how much of it you heard, talking about the position that young people face. A strong view from him in which he used the phrase, young people can't breathe, that the knee of economic oppression is still on their neck. Would you agree?
Stephen, thank you so much for having me. Yes, I think I would agree. I think we have an education system presently that really is highly unequal, where you find that if you are economically well off and you are located in an urban space, you will do very well compared to a student that is in the township or in a rural area. And we've seen through COVID-19 a number of videos circulating that have demonstrated the deeply embedded inequalities that still exist within our education system that result in young people loitering employed, not getting opportunities. So, of course, absolutely, this is still the case. But we must also appreciate that there have been decades upon decades of exclusion, of marginalization, of deliberate resourcing of certain spaces in this country, and it will take some time before that is undone. Of course, this is not to excuse what we presently see in society today.
Something that happened in 1976 was that there was a frustration, there was a flashpoint around the use of Afrikaans as the language of education. There was I suppose the only way I can describe it is a defined enemy. But there was also organization. And what I'm talking about is how students of the time organized themselves. Seth Maziboko was one of the leaders. There were many others. Some of them play prominent roles in our society now, and so they should. Is there an issue where students now just aren't organized? And I'm thinking around the ANC Youth League, COSAS, the Congress of South African Students and others. Do you think that organization is lacking, or is it a problem for young people everywhere to try and organize themselves against the kind of structural problems that you're talking about?
I'm not so sure that it's about a lack of organization than it is about a different time that we're living in. I think we have definitely seen young people coming together and coalescing around particular issues. Fees must fall, roads must fall, decolonization of higher education. So these are central issues that young people have brought to the fore, particularly in higher education. At basic education, we are seeing presently COSAS resisting the need for young people to go back to classes because they fear infection due to COVID-19. And we've seen other formations coming around and young people protesting around the provision of resources, around the unavailability of textbooks and things like that. But I think what we must understand is that we are dealing with, I would argue, a completely different set of challenges that young people are confronted with. We've got popular media that young people see day in, day out, social media that influences what they do and how they do things. And of course, that has direct bearing. And of course, also, those are the very resources that we've seen being utilized by young people to organize, to speak back to the challenges that they confront. But I do think that part of the problem, actually, is that a lot of the issues that young people are faced with need or require the intervention coming from adults who themselves sometimes are heavily involved in the manipulation of young people. So I am of the view that the type of politics that we're seeing in society today is actually quite interesting, because it's not just mobilizing around racial inequality, mobilizing around Afrikaans. We have a black government at the moment, and that black government, of course, is voted for by people in various spaces, in the townships and rural areas, and in urban spaces in this country. And so having to speak back to that government is a bit tricky compared to coalescing around the issue of apartheid, for example. So I do think that young people are actually raising particular pertinent issues, but I don't think that the system is responding in a way that is actually saying we are listening to you and we are going to address these issues. I mean, we've seen the decolonization movement. We pay lip service to what young people are saying. It's not that the institutions of higher education have now all of a sudden structurally changed. They are still very much the same. So, I don't think that it's not, I'm convinced that it's not about a lack of organizing from young people, but it's primarily us And us, me having shifted from being young at the stage, us who are refusing to listen to young people.